Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Naruto Shippuden episode review. This one's going to be for episode 475, The Final Valley. Straight away, link to watch the episode if you haven't seen it yet is in the description, but this is the review. So, overall, really good episode once again, just like last week. One of the better episodes in a long time. And very clearly they are putting effort into getting the setup for the conclusion of the series just as much as they're putting effort into the actual conclusion of the series. And the emotion setup stuff from this episode felt really strong, and it really hyped up for the next episode or two. What people seem to be saying is that we are off for 2 weeks, and then the episode that we get coming back on that third week is going to be an hour-long episode, which is going to be basically the entire fight, maybe minus the final moment / resolution to the fight. So I don't really know how true that is. It seems to be the case in that it seems like there's Pokemon specials and stuff like that coming up, which are gonna put the show on break anyway. And the way they did the preview for the next episode as well seemed to very much suggest something big is happening with the next episode because of the kind of animated manga style that they did for the preview for the episode. So let's talk about this episode though. Lots of little things to talk about here as we of course set up the Naruto Sasuke fight to end the series. And obviously the conclusion of the various Hokages kind of gradually going away, saying all of their kind of final things just before kind of drifting away. Everyone really emphasizing that we're leaving it up to you, the next generation, to sort this whole mess at the end of the war out. It's up to Naruto and Sasuke, basically. They some of them mention Sakura and Kakashi, but to all intents and purposes, they're out of this battle. Especially with what happens within the episode. After that, the Sage of Six Paths kind of begins to give his final speech, mentioning basically when he talked to Naruto and Sasuke when they both nearly died and gave them their power, their answers to their questions. Naruto is fully behind what he has to say, as is Sasuke, and then we get the big moment of the episode. Sasuke revealing that he's not just returned and is back on the side of everyone else. He still has his own plans. That basically when he spoke to the Hokages, he made a decision, and his version of becoming the Hokage is different than Naruto's, and the things that he wants to do obviously counter what a lot of other people want to do. So what he does is immediately uses the Rinnegan to basically put all of the tailed beasts under Genjutsu, then uses planetary devastation to basically seal all of the tailed beasts, with the aim of basically then killing Naruto, getting rid of the tailed beast chakra within him, then using the power of the tailed beasts that he's captured in the planetary devastation to unseal the infinite Tsukiyomi, but not before he has killed the current 5 Kage who are under the influence of the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Obviously, he reveals now that his idea of the Hokage is revolution, basically. That if he can kill the current leaders of all of the nations and him take over as leader, he can promote change in the world and basically change things in the way that he thinks should be the case. Versus Naruto, who's like, no, we've ended the war. The tailed beasts are all out, they're free, they can go off and do what they want. I've gotten through to them. They won't hurt anyone anymore. It's fine. We can just go on now. The story of the nations coming together to fight this war has, in many ways, healed a lot of the rifts between the nations. But obviously, Sasuke is kind of so set on changing things that he's not going to see it that way. So we see this kind of coming into play. Kakashi's like, "Why are you doing this, Sasuke? At this moment, really." Naruto kind of sets up because I like what they do with Naruto in that he's aware, he's up for a fight straight away. He knows that that's where this is all heading. But they kind of hold him back for most of the episode. He doesn't go full on out until the very end and follows Sasuke. Before that, you have Kakashi saying stuff, and then importantly, Sakura saying things to Sasuke. And I love how they referred back to the previous time that this happened. This is Naruto and Sasuke running off to have their fight at the Valley of the End, the final valley, without her. The first time it happened was obviously slightly different circumstances, but in essence, she got to speak to Sasuke. He thanked her, but still kind of knocked her out with Genjutsu before going off. Here, she full on admits that she loves him and wishes that she could get through to him, but she knows that she can't really get close to him at this point in time because he's too powerful, and just she's aware that it really has to be Naruto who gets through to him at this point. But I really loved the performance from the voice actress for Sakura here. Getting across definitely one of the most important emotional lines from this character. Kind of admitting that she's not strong enough to really get through to Sasuke at this point in time, but hoping that there's just a little bit of a place in his heart for her, and that just that can turn him around. And obviously he, just says his kind of classic line to her, you're really annoying. Takes her out with a different genjutsu, but still, very well animated, that genjutsu. And then it's Kakashi saying, like, why did you do that? She just cares about you. And you get this idea that when the flashback happens, immediately upon basically Kakashi arguing, like, why are you doing this? She just cares about you. Sasuke immediately flashes back to that really happy moment when he was talking to his mother in the past, and he basically got the reveal from her that even though your father doesn't really focus on you that much, in private he talks about you a lot. He really does care about you, and that really opened up for Sasuke in the past the family dynamic, and it was basically the happiest it's ever been. And what interrupted that happiness was, of course, Itachi slaughtering the entire clan. And that was kind of the first thing. That Sasuke, early on in the series, was defined by rage for revenge towards Itachi. He later found out that what Itachi was doing was actually for the Leaf Village. And then his rage was basically, and revenge was focused on the Leaf Village because of what they basically forced Itachi to do. He's currently at the point where his vengeance and what he wants to do is against the current kind of leadership structure, how the world works, and so that's why he wants to take out the current five Kage and become the Hokage himself. So I like how they got that across, that especially with what Hagoromo says, the Sage of Six Paths says to Kakashi just prior to the fight being about to start, that Sasuke is different. Sasuke and Naruto are different than Kaguya because they have experienced what love actually is. But Sasuke has kind of renounced that. Like, what he says to Kakashi is kind of really interesting in that he says, I don't need her to love me or be, I don't need to love her or be loved by her. And kind of Kakashi just says the point, in this case, love doesn't need a reason. What does need a reason is hate, and she doesn't want to hate you. She just cares about you. That's the way he feels about things. He's experienced so much loss, of course, finding out that what happened to his parents, of course, and then realizing that the brother he'd always cared about, but then hated, actually did everything for him, for the village. He cares about his brother deeply, and finding out what happened. A lot of these people he's cared about and loved have been taken away from him. Obviously, the point they're going to have to nail as the fight goes on is that Sasuke's kind of missing the point that even though he's lost all these people, Naruto's lost a lot of people as well, he has people who care about him at this point in time. Naruto is going to go through so much to fight for Sasuke to get him back. He's going to be fighting for Sakura to get Sasuke back to her, and so much like that. Kakashi does care about Sasuke as well. Even the Kage and all that sort of stuff, they care about Sasuke to some extent, and he has to kind of realize that. And that's going to be what's really important. The animation on the fight and stuff like that's going to be important as well to get across, but equally so, you have to get the dialogue between Naruto and Sasuke spot on so you can understand, obviously, the eventual shift for Sasuke by the end of the series. Um, Basically, after that, Sasuke runs off, Naruto follows, and we arrive at the Valley of the End, and we get the conversation just prior to beginning the fight. Just referencing the fact that this is where their previous fight took place, and then very interestingly, both Naruto and Sasuke mentioning Itachi. Naruto first with kind of what Itachi kind of said to him one time, in that the person who becomes a Hokage is not what's the exact wording on it? The Hokage is not acknowledged by all. It is the person who acknowledges. Wait. Well, I said it completely wrong. Ultimately, what the Hokage is, it is the person who is acknowledged by everyone. It is not that the Hokage is the person who is acknowledged by everyone. It's kind of the reverse. You become the Hokage once you are acknowledged by everyone else. So I thought that was a really interesting point, that that's kind of what Sasuke's kind of missing. He's trying to force his way in as Hokage, as leader, to force change, whereas everyone's behind Naruto. That's what this entire series has been basically, building towards. And for Sasuke to kind of suddenly, in the last couple of kind of episodes, basically say, I also want to become Hokage. It's a Naruto has a reason to fight in this fight. It's for his friend, but also, I'm the one who had the dream to become Hokage. You can't just change that now that you feel you need to do something. So, and then Itachi, of course, Sasuke countering with the fact that I live my life based on the way Itachi lived, not by his words, and the fight is about to begin. So, solid episode, really good setup, build towards the fight, literally just about to begin. So much emotion and stuff like that going on here. So excited for the next episode, even though I think we're going on a break, but I'm not entirely sure. If you do know the exact situation with when the next episode is coming, let me know in the comments below. But I'll just finish up by saying, highlights from the episode were definitely the Sakura scene, and just in general how they did that whole thing. Sakura's confession, Sasuke performing the genjutsu on her, and then Kakashi kind of arguing with Sasuke, then the little flashback they did. The scene between the tailed beasts, when Kurama asks the 8 tails, where are you going to go next, after they all say they're going to go back to their various habitats. And the big moment that they kind of set up of the 8 tails actually wants to go back to Killer Bee. And Kurama, you can tell, wants to go back to Naruto, and it takes the Sage of Six Paths basically kind of ordering him to do that for him to kind of accept it, and all the 8-tailed beasts joke about it. It's a fun scene. But yeah, I'm going to end the review there. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode, on the review. But yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.